Look at a photo of yourself as a baby. The eyes you see there, those weren't your eyes. Most people don't have the eye color they were born with. Yours probably changed. About 75% of babies born to non-Asian parents are born with blue or gray eyes. By age 3, most of them won't be. The change isn't optical. It isn't about the lighting in the hospital. It's the slow activation of cells inside the iris that take months, sometimes years, to start producing the pigment your genes have been waiting to release. When a baby is born, their melanocytes, the same pigment cells we've covered before, are present in the iris but mostly dormant. They haven't been activated. Until they're triggered, the iris contains very little melanin, which is why so many babies appear blue or gray at birth. The blue isn't from pigment. It's from light scattering through a mostly clear iris stroma, the same physics that makes the sky blue. As the months pass, melanocytes begin producing pigment in response to several signals: genetic instructions, light exposure, and chemical messengers in the developing body. Genetics determines how much pigment will eventually be produced. Light exposure may help trigger the timing. The first year of life is when most eye color is decided. By 6 months, you can see whether melanocytes are producing eumelanin, the dark pigment that produces brown eyes, or holding back. By 1 year, the trajectory is mostly set. Some children settle into their final color quickly in the first few months. Others, particularly those who will end up with hazel, green, or amber eyes, take longer. The melanin system is not a switch. It's a slow accumulation. Ancient medical traditions from across the world noticed this. In Ayurvedic medicine, the foundational physicians Sushruta and Charaka described how the iris reveals different states at different life stages. In traditional Chinese medicine, the eye was mapped to the body's organs in zones that practitioners examined across childhood and adulthood. Buddhist iconography painted the wisdom eye on stupas, a symbol of perception that develops only over time. None of these traditions had molecular biology, but all of them noticed that eyes change, and that the change carries information. Hindu poetry describes infant Krishna in the Bhagavata Purana as Kamala Nayana, lotus-eyed, with eyes the color of rain clouds. As Krishna grows in the texts, his eye color is described differently across verses. Different moments, different colors. The poets noticed something modern biology has confirmed. Eyes are not static. They're a continuous painting. Most adults assume their eye color is permanent. It isn't. It's just slow. Across decades, your eyes accumulate small changes you almost never notice. UV exposure adds tiny pigment freckles to the iris, the same response your skin has to sunlight. Hormonal shifts in pregnancy or menopause can subtly intensify or fade pigment. Some medications, especially certain glaucoma eye drops, can permanently darken iris color over months of use. Trauma to the eye can change pigment patterns locally. Even ordinary stress or chronic illness can shift the iris over time. The iris isn't a fixed organ. It's a slow recording surface, picking up impressions across decades like a film slowly developing. Between 30 and 60 years of age, even healthy eyes show measurable changes. The pupil shrinks slightly, by about 10% on average. The lens stiffens. The iris itself may show subtle pigment migration, with some areas darkening while others lighten. Most people will not notice these changes in themselves. But if you compared photographs of your eyes from age 20 and age 40 under identical lighting, the differences would be measurable. Subtle, but real. The body keeps writing into the iris. In old age, the iris changes more visibly. Around the cornea, a soft gray or white ring may appear, called corneal arcus. It's caused by lipid deposits in the cornea, not the iris itself, but it changes how the eye looks. The iris pigment can fade slightly, particularly in people who started with darker eyes. The pupil may shrink and respond more slowly. The lens behind the iris yellows and clouds, sometimes producing the cataracts that have been described in medical texts going back thousands of years. In Hindu philosophy, the eye in old age was understood differently. The Markandeya Purana describes how the gaze of the elder shifts from outward seeing to inward seeing, drishti turning back toward dhyana, perception toward meditation. In Norse mythology, Odin sacrificed an eye at the well of Mimir for wisdom, the loss of one kind of vision in exchange for another. In Greek tradition, the seer Tiresias was blind in one eye, but could see further than any sighted king. Across cultures, ancient peoples noticed something biology now confirms. Older eyes don't see less, they see differently. The iris is the visible record of this slow trade. Mythological traditions across the world have noticed eyes change with age and built rich symbolism around it. In Hindu tradition, Lord Shiva is described with 3 eyes: sun, moon, and inner perception. 3 modes of seeing that open at different stages of life. The goddess Durga's eyes are described as shifting with her emotional state. In Buddhist iconography, the wisdom eye represents perception that develops only with practice and time, painted on stupas across Nepal and Tibet as the watchful gaze of the Buddha. The Egyptian Eye of Horus and Eye of Ra were 2 faces of the same symbol, protection and destruction, both carved into temples whose painted eyes weathered with the stone. Native American traditions hold that elders' eyes carry sight beyond what younger eyes can see. None of this was biology in the modern sense, but all of it recognized something biology now confirms. The eye is not static. It is constantly changing. And what changes the eye changes how the world is seen. Eye color changes can also be a medical signal. Some changes happen slowly and reveal nothing concerning. Others appear suddenly and indicate something the body is dealing with. Wilson's disease, a rare genetic disorder of copper metabolism, can produce a distinct gold-brown ring around the iris called a Kaiser-Fleischer ring. Diabetes can subtly affect iris pigmentation through metabolic changes. Fuchs' heterochromic uveitis, a rare inflammatory condition, can cause one iris to slowly lighten over years, eventually creating mismatched eye colors in adults who were born with matching ones. Sudden change in eye color in adulthood, particularly if confined to one eye, is something a physician should evaluate. The iris is one of the few organs you can see directly without imaging. That accessibility is medically valuable. An ophthalmologist examining a patient's iris can detect early signs of conditions ranging from cardiovascular disease to neurological disorders, sometimes long before other symptoms appear. What all of this comes back to is a simple, easy-to-miss truth. Your eye color is not a fixed property you were born with and will die with. It is a slow, ongoing process. The eyes you have today are not the eyes you had at age 1, or at age 20, or at age 50. They are the cumulative result of genetics, hormones, light exposure, illness, healing, age, and time. The iris keeps recording. Long after your other features have settled, your eyes are still being painted. Across cultures and centuries, this fact has been observed in poetry, in mythology, in medicine. The eye that sees the world is itself constantly being changed by the world. Modern biology has now confirmed what the ancients suspected. There is no such thing as a permanent eye color. There are only stages of one. The reflection you see in the mirror tomorrow is the only person on Earth who has ever had exactly those eyes, and even those eyes will be slightly different in 5 years. You are wearing a face that the world is constantly editing. Next Sunday on Human Decoded, albinism. The genetic condition where the eye produces almost no pigment at all. The eyes you have today are not the eyes you had at age 20. And even these eyes will be slightly different in 5 years. You are wearing a face the world is constantly editing. Next Sunday on Human Decoded, albinism. The genetic condition where the eye produces almost no pigment at all. The lives shaped by an absence of color. and what albinism reveals about every other eye color you see. The biology of the iris that doesn't fill in. The lives shaped by an absence of color. And what albinism reveals about every other eye color you see.